Welcome to the world of Zip System Building Enclosures, where we believe in striving for optimal air, water, and thermal management, no matter the region or climate. Because when you have the right products to do the right job the right way, the first time, you're building to a higher code, the Zip Code.
I'm Jake Bruton. Today on the Build Show, I want to talk to you about how my company, Aarow Building, handles production meetings. And I know that doesn't sound like it's going to be exciting. It might not. Let's do it now, though. Okay, so when we start to talk about expanding the business beyond just, say, 2 or 3 employees, we start talking about bringing on enough jobs to bring more people on, to keep everybody busy, to have a full production calendar. And I'm going to be honest with you, for the longest time, and when I say longest time, I probably actually mean years, I was not good about forecasting what we had coming for the next 6 months or the next year. I was not good at forecasting how long it was going to take for us to finish the jobs that we were working on. And everything was kind of by the seat of my pants. Hey, we need to start that in 2 weeks, so we should get started planning on how to start that. And that was a detriment to my business for a long time. We did not have command of how our business was operating. And when I finally decided to have a true production calendar and edit that production or update that production calendar, it changed my ability to sell jobs and to manage jobs. And by that, I mean, I was able to then start going, okay, well, I can't promise this fall schedule to that client because the project manager that's best suited to that, because he just did the same sort of thing, isn't going to be done by fall. It's going to be winter, and the subcontractors that are needed for that are going to be tied up on that other project, and therefore we can't start that yet. And it made our ability to produce higher quality work just a little bit better, and it really elevated who we are and what we're doing. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but the production meeting is kind of the key to the success of that process. Meetings are not sexy. Meetings are not exciting. Most people, maybe less in our industry, but most people in the world say, oh, I have to go to this meeting. I have to attend this weekly meeting. And they're going to go, ugh, I hate this. So when I first decided to jump on the, we'll call it the meeting bandwagon, if you will, one of the things that I decided is that we were going to do things in a way where people did not dread them and where they felt like they were productive and that they were necessary and that they got some value out of it. So let's talk about how our crew at Aarow Building handles it, and then we'll talk about the why. So Aarow Building has 2 different kinds of production meetings. The first kind of production meeting is a weekly production meeting. We happen to have ours every Thursday morning. Every team member is in the office on Thursday mornings. This is the Columbia office. Our Kansas City office is slightly different, and we won't address that today. But the Columbia office, every team member is in the office at 7:30, and by 8:30, everyone is out the door and to their jobs. The reason we do that is because there's always going to be a few minutes of, I haven't seen you since last Friday or last Thursday. How's life? How are the kids? Hey, is your wife not sick anymore? Or whatever it is. And we don't put a hard, like, it's 7:30, we have to start. We are a little bit lax in the beginning of the meeting, but once we decide to get going, we move fairly quickly. We have a 3-week look-ahead board for our production team. The jobs are color-coded by which project manager is in charge of the job. Everything that goes on this board, it's 3 separate weeks. Everything that goes on the board is written in color code so that everybody can clearly look at it quickly. So if it's in a specific color, that's an Aarow Building task. If it's in a specific color, it's a subcontractor task. If it's in bright purple, that is a, oh crap, we didn't think about that, or I'm going to be out of the office, so you need to make sure that you have questions answered before I leave. It's the weird oddities that happen in every schedule. but we try to predict when those are going to happen, or if a project manager is off, it's written on there so that everybody knows, everybody on the team understands what their responsibility is going to be for that time period. So by having everything on one board, you can do this on the computer. We've tried it on Gantt charts with project management software. So far, the visualization of everything on one board has been the best for us. It doesn't mean it's the best for you, but it allows us to go, oh, well, this says Osborne Carpentry, but below that is a job that also says Osborne Carpentry. Well, guess what? Osborne Carpentry is a one-person act. He can't be on both those jobs at the same time. So who gets priority and whose schedule has to shift? So the project managers do all show at the office on Wednesday afternoons, and they all edit that board, because when they get there first thing Thursday morning, they have to defend their board. They have to talk about what they're going to do. They have to share with the rest of the team, here's what's going to be needed, here's what it looks like for the next 3 weeks. Now, there are times where those things that are written on those 3 weeks, the only thing that changes is the date and nothing actually moves. But it's important to understand what happens that causes that to happen so that you can avoid it next time. But it's also important to understand how those things are shifting so that you can make better predictions the next time around. And that's one of the biggest things that this production meeting has helped, because you might have a project manager write, well, these 2 weeks are gypsum wallboard and the finishing and the priming, and the project manager on another project is going to go, there is no way that that drywall crew can have that completed in 2 weeks' time. It's going to take longer than that, and you need to be pushing that out. And so they get to see each other's jobs, and they get to critique each other, and they get to have input on a project that they're not involved with. Now, they might be uninformed and they might be wrong when they take that input, but they also could be completely correct, and you could go, shoot, you're right. I know that they can't do that in 2 weeks. Now I need to edit my schedule, which means I need to edit my calendar, which means I might even need to edit my budget because I wasn't paying attention when I created our schedule. That is like the biggest aspect of what we're doing with that Thursday production meeting, is the communication company-wide and the knowledge that you can gain from understanding how your team is projecting and how they are trying to be hopeful or not be realistic, and you can have input on that as well. That production meeting happens on Thursdays. We used to do it on Mondays. It always seemed as if someone would have to miss it if it were on a Monday, because a subcontractor is trying to start that day. They've packed up their tools over the weekend, they're on the site, and they're raring to go, and we're trying to have a meeting first thing. That's not going to work, and so therefore we have to find a way in which they can get guys started on Monday. Well, then we can't do it on a Monday. And the same thing has a tendency to want to happen on Tuesdays for some reason. And so then we move to a Wednesday, and we've just landed on Thursday by trial and error. It seems to be the day that their attention is needed the least on site. And actually on those Thursdays, they roll other job site or other office tasks into their duties on those days as well. And it's actually incredibly helpful that our project management team is kind of almost exclusively in the office all day Thursday, from production meeting to budget reviews to meetings with me about their timelines and everything. It just works out great. Now, every month, we also have a project managers only, let me back up actually. That Thursday production meeting, it's important to keep it as short as possible. You don't want people wasting time. You don't want people sitting there feeling like they're bored. By having everybody in one room, it's nice to be able to connect, to discuss what's going on. Our lead carpenters, our carpentry team, they all feel as if they know what's being talked about and what's going to be expected. And it's not like, hey, the project managers just finished up their meeting, they're going to hand out marching orders. We talk about it together during that meeting so that everybody's involved in the decision making and everybody at the table has a voice. And I think that helps us a lot in everybody feeling as if they're a valued member of the team. So that's important. Now, we get it over with. It's a hard out. Nobody's allowed to be in the office after 8:30. And I don't mean not in the office. I mean the production meeting has to be done by then. We're not going to waste a morning on a production meeting. It's important, but it's not more than an hour a week's worth of important. After that, we then go and transition once a month into a 6-month and yearly production meeting. This is something that's new for us. We haven't done it that many times, but it's already been very helpful in the sense that we can have a conversation about, okay, I know your next 3 weeks show this, but in reality, it looks like they're going to be this. And if they're going to just take that long, then one of the things that we need to talk about is when your completion timeline is. And if your completion timeline has moved, then we have a problem. And we need to talk about what it's going to take to onboard another job if you're going to be done early, or push the schedule on another project if you're going to be done late. And that has been an incredible asset to us, because now we can look at that 6 month or a year, and I know what I can promise as the head salesman, lead salesman, the figurehead behind the company, whatever you want to say. I now have the ability to go, I told you when we started this pre-con process that I thought we'd have a spring of 24 opening. It actually looks like it's going to be early summer to midsummer, and I need you to understand that now rather than later, so that we're not feeding you down an incorrect path or taking you down a path that feels dishonest in any way. So it's all about planning. It's all about open communication across the entire company. And it's all about having the entire team involved so that everyone is informed. Now, here's the $1 million question. Who pays for that meeting? The way that our company is structured, that meeting is charged to the client that you're going to be working on that day. There is a certain level of planning that needs to go into those things. And I actually think that we can make a valid argument that because we put the whole team in one room for 1 hour, 1 day a week, that now they're all informed to the point where there is no guesswork about who's expected to do what or when. And because of that, we are much more organized and our value is much more present. And we can say, okay, I'm going to be here for the next 2 days working on this, and then I have to do this, and I'm going to work on this, and those sorts of things. And it makes the value of that meeting that much more important. And I have absolutely no problem charging that to the client, because they are going to reap the benefit of us being more and more organized. Meetings are scary. A lot of people hate meetings, but I promise you, if you take the time to organize your staff and meeting agenda, you will have the best results for your client. And just like us, you will actually produce a better product for your clients because of a stupid meeting that I always thought we didn't want to have. I told you, it might not be sexy, it might not be fun, but I'm telling you, there's a value there, and everybody being on the same page and everybody feeling heard and just organizing as a company. And if you're running more than a couple jobs at a time, chances are it's not on your shoulders, and everybody needs to be informed, and I'm better informed because of it too. Till next time, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the Unbuild It podcast. That's Steve Basic, Peter Yost, and myself talking about building science, the business of building. And don't forget to follow on Instagram, and have a good day.